Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another exciting discussion on another Minecraft exciting topic of well-being. Can you hear that brook? It is just so amazing today. God, I love September. It's just so gentle and, oh my gosh, it's amazing. All right, anyway, I am Dr. I have a little itch, hold on. I am Dr. Kimberly Quinn, and I am here to help you become the boss of your brain, which is, essentially becoming the boss of our thoughts, because thoughts come first and feelings come second, and action or behavior third. Oh, that is just so soothing. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's the thing. I came up here with a plan, and now I have a new plan, because in the Jeep on the way here, I was inspired by the universe or something, so I don't remember it being anything specific, to do something a little different. So what came in my head, which is sort of related to my other plan, is just the idea of how free are we really. And I actually did a class on this Monday, yesterday, okay, so that's why it's in my head maybe, with my Minecrafters, because, oh no, it was Monday, never mind, because we were discussing, it was the unit on leisure and freedom and how they relate. So I've done this activity. Oh, look at the beavers making a new, oh, that's cool. So I've done this activity for years, and it's just, so you have to try to just get the visual. Stay with me here. So I have 4 pieces of colored construction paper. This year I had 2 lime greens and 2 sort of light colored purples. They have to be light enough to write on, because then I write the words totally free on one with a smiley face. Next, somewhat free with a smiley face, but the smile's not, huge like Cheshire Cat, but it's a smile. And then the next one is somewhat free. Sorry, it goes totally free, pretty much free. Sorry, that's the next one. The third one is somewhat free, so it's a little bit less of a smile. And then not free at all. And that one I put like a face, little eyebrows, like, and I do a stick figure, because my doctor, it's not an art, so I asked them to pay attention to not that, but what we're doing. Oh, Giovanni's in the beaver pond. Okay, and then the bar, so the person who's totally not free is kind of hanging on to bars, just metaphorical for just feeling totally trapped, right? So then I say to my young adults, I want you to think about how free you are, and we're not going to do anything to define that, because let's say what's free for Jonathan is not free for, Melissa, or which is not free for Brandon, or but we don't actually say any of that. And then I have them think about it for just a moment, and I ask them to get up and move and stand in the classroom where they feel they go. So I've got these are in order. So I've got totally free on one wall, this the little sign, it's up high, and then pretty much free, then further down to somewhat free, and then over here, so it's like 4 corners kind of, and then not free at all. And typically I usually get probably yesterday's crew is pretty much the same as it's usually very close. So usually I get like 3 or 4. This is out of 15 to 17 usually. 3 or 4 are like in the totally not free area. They can also stand in between. It's not just like polarized. They can stand in between those. And then I get a bulk of them between somewhat free and pretty much free. And then I get like 2. They're in the Zen monk range of totally free. And then we do this whole brainstorm. We talk about it, what goes into feeling free. And they don't have to disclose why they're standing where they're standing. So we come up with a list of what does it mean to feel free? And they come, since they're, all obviously these, wonderful individual young adults, they come up with all different things, right? So inevitably money comes up there, because that can equal freedom for many. To have our own opinions, realize the life stage they're in, to be free from parental expectations, society's expectations, free to have your own opinion, free to be who you are. And then gender stuff comes up, sexuality stuff inevitably comes up also. Race stuff comes up also, and then usually mental health stuff comes up, because they might feel free as far as maybe financially they've got enough to do their college student thing, and they've they feel free maybe with friendships and things like that, but they don't feel free at all, because because they feel locked in their mind. You know, anybody with OCD, that comes up. Generalized anxiety, I don't like the word disorder, you know that, and depression stuff. Then they say worry, because sometimes it's family members. I get first generation students who feel not free because they feel like they've got the whole, they've actually said this to me, the whole family's you know, like honor, or I don't know what the right word really for, but it's like all on their shoulders. And so they've got so many reasons, and this just pours out of them onto our list. And then we kind of realize that the list for free and not free is the same list. It's the same list. And what's really cool, I couldn't have scripted this better myself. It was years ago, and I usually share this story. It was probably like 10, I don't even know, 8 or 9 years ago, something, when I could not have scripted it myself if I would have tried. So I got that same spread with a few on the not at all free, then they're like middle, and then like I had like five, that was actually a huge class, so it was a little bit more than that. Then I had like 4 or 5 seniors over in the totally free, and then the not free part was mostly first years and maybe a sophomore. That class was way bigger because things have changed since then. I was like 26. There's a lot of them in there. And so they started talking about, it was the mental health spin, like just feeling so trapped in their heads, on top of, you know, already having, you know, obsessive compulsive thinking, anxiety that had been debilitating for a couple of them. One of them I remember had some pretty significant depression stuff that was limiting for him. And they so courageously shared this on their own. And then on the other side, this was absolutely amazing. It was kind of like when you're driving as a parent and teenagers start talking in the back seat, but they forget you're driving. It was that kind of thing. So I just like stepped back and let it happen. And these awesome seniors, I remember, I think there was a junior, started talking directly to the totally not freeze, or not totally freeze, and saying, you know what, if we did this activity 3 years ago, we would have been standing exactly where you are right now. And they basically did this fantastic young adult, like, back and forth about how we were there too. We were there too, and now we're here. We're here because things do get better. They definitely get better. And they talked about getting counseling, they talked about exercise, they talked about bringing the approval meter on the inside and not having, you know, the expectations or caring about the approval that's on the outside, and also how hard that is and what a journey it is, finding the right people to hang around with. And it would be way too much even to get into this whole video, because it was just the most fantastic, just happy teacher moment, because a difference was made in that classroom on that day. Because I watched with my own eyes, not from me, but from their classmates. I watched the not free at alls. That's what they were. They're not with the bars. The not free at alls. You could see it in their faces, their whole demeanor become a little more free in that moment, in that class, because of the very genuine compassion shown by their peers. It was just absolutely incredible to watch that happen. And the shame came up too, because again, we said this a lot, it's not like, you know, the anxiety, depression, ADHD, bipolar, whatever, fill in the blank, that truly brings us down. It's the underlying shame, you know, it's that feeling of not being enough in this world, you know, and trying to constantly measure up. And, you know, my yardstick and your yardstick must have been made in a different factory, because mine's not measuring up to your yardstick. And just that constant feeling of being less than and defective and flawed. And watching this, it just couldn't have been better, because it was coming from their peers. And watching this very authentic compassion happening was just amazing. And so here's the main theme, is that shame, which is what was going on the not at all freeze, right, doesn't stand a chance, not a chance, against genuine love and compassion. It just doesn't. It does not stand a chance. And so, that said, I figured this just came to me in the Jeep, to really explore how free you feel. And that was just my example with my Minecrafters, but if I did one with grown-ups, because it's a different life stage, you know, the context might change. But I doubt that kind of, usually call it a bell curve in science, which wasn't exactly a bell curve. Kind of a bell curve, I guess, because most are in the middle, and then, yeah, I guess it was just a little bit like slant, like a pear. because there are fewer towards the totally free than the other side. So it's kind of like a bell that's like that. But if we did it with seasoned grown-ups, I'm willing to bet it would probably look pretty close to the same. The reasons might just be different. I would bet the mental health stuff would still be there and feeling trapped in that. And then in addition to the list would be responsibilities and obligations with kids, right? And jobs and pressure to provide and not feeling like there's enough time to do stuff even though you have the money. There might be two people working and still not enough money because you've got college tuitions, maybe debt for a house and cars, or plus life stuff happens. Maybe somebody lost a business back and then trying to make up, who knows. But I'm willing to bet that the curve would probably be the same. And so the whole point here is it's so important to, we talked about this in an early episode too, is to not just whiz by and let life go by anyway. I'm huge about that, spending our life minutes as if they were cash. It is very important for all of us, I'd like to say on a daily basis even, but even if you did on a weekly basis, that's a start, to really do a freedom evaluation. We do a lot of evaluations for our financial situation and our whatever relationship situations. Do a freedom evaluation, because in order to spend our life minutes like they were cash, you see in the connection, we've got to be free. Whatever that means for you, we've got to be free. And I'm a huge freedom person. I literally can't even go on with my day. I'm not making that up. If I feel like I've got a splinter in my foot with that. And some people, especially those who know me best, know that I say it like that because that's what it feels like to me, like a splinter. Like, you know how you can keep walking, you can do stuff, but you're just kind of aware of the splinter. Like, it doesn't totally throw your day, but it's just like it's present. And some people might have bigger splinters and more splinters. But because I'm so freedom aware, it doesn't take much for me to stop right in my tracks and be like, okay, something's going on with a relationship. Even if it wasn't like, on the scale of huge, if it was like something was said to me that was hurtful, it doesn't mean necessarily confront it, because it might just be, I need to change my dance because so-and-so was snarky because they had something happen in their life, and that doesn't need anything but me changing my dance, right? Let it go, gone. Or it might need something that it might need a conversation or something like that. But I have to take a walk, usually here, to really, be mindful and open and receptive, and listen and close my eyes and listen to that brook, which is exactly what I do, and hear my innermost self, sort of having a conversation of what that splinter's about and what's in the way of my freedom on this day, because my life minutes are way too important to sacrifice one day, half a day, 1 hour, anything, to a splinter that's getting in the way of my freedom. And then once I kind of can identify the splinter, that's the biggest step. And then it comes to, you got to feel it. Positive psychology is not happyology, as Marty Seligman would say. We got to feel it, because to feel is to heal, right? And then validate, and then we work on removal of the splinter so that I can be totally free, which sounds crazy with a husband and the Fab Five young adults. I do feel free. I feel so free. Free to be me. I also keep my passport in one of my drawers just because you never know, okay? But anyway, do a freedom eval on yourself today, okay? This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from Northern Vermont. Have a mindful and very free day.